Hey class, just wanted to record a small video for you guys about Chapter 6 in Congress. I know I wasn't there this week, but if I could just get across to you some of the most important information that I wanted to share with you guys that isn't found in the book that I know is going to be on the exam, I think it might help you guys a lot. So I just wanted to kind of go over some few key things. This won't take long. Thank you guys for giving me this time to be with my family. I really appreciate it. It was a tough week for us, but I'm so glad that I'll be back this week, and I can't wait to see you guys. Okay, so let's get started. I think the biggest question about Congress, and I know Congress can be so boring, and this week we get to talk about the president. We'll probably talk about the president for a week and a half, but talking about Congress, it's like, what do these guys even do? You know, what are they supposed to do? And I think that's the question that I want to answer for you guys today. I'll probably be going through this pretty quickly, but, you guys can pause and, take the notes as you need to. But one of the things that Congress is supposed to do, what Congress is supposed to do, is there's three things. And the first one is they handle the financial side of the government. They're pretty much they hold what we call in politics the purse strings, right? They hold the purse. So the ones that set taxes and borrowing. They're the ones that handle all our debts. So whenever the government shuts down, it's largely because of Congress not being able to pay our debts. They make sure they handle, defense and general welfare and regulate trade and commerce. But I don't know. It does feel like at times they're the ones that hold up all of the government. Most of the time, the president wants to make sure that the government keeps going because it all reflects bad upon him. So Congress can actually put that on the president too. It could be a political move. Just some thoughts though. Number one, financial. Number two, they handle the legal side. They're the ones that, of course, like, how does a bill become a law? We all remember that. Maybe we don't. I don't know. Maybe I should show you guys that. I don't think they remember that. Yeah. No, well, okay, so there used to be this cartoon. I'm not going to go through the cartoon, but it was a little, piece of paper, and it was like, my name's Bill, and how do I get through Congress? Basically, it's this process, right? And your book actually has a really, really, really good outline of it that I want you guys to have ready when the exam comes, because it's you might have to answer a question of, like, how does a bill become a law? But first, it has to go through both chambers of Congress, and it kind of looks something like this in your book. But it is really good to look this over. Bills do take a long time to become law, but it is mainly through Congress that this whole process begins, and of course it ends with the president signing it, but the majority of it comes directly from Congress. Three. Number three, they handle the institutional side of the government. They do things like organize the judicial and executive branches. They make sure that things run smoothly. They do things like establish the postal system. By the way, there is a place in Indiana called Santa Claus that the government set up a post office there. And if you send a letter to Santa Claus, Indiana, they will write you back. So you can have, your nephews, your nieces, your brothers and your sisters, if they want to write a letter to Santa Claus. There it is. They will write you back. Santa Claus is real. Santa Claus, Indiana. So they also, one of the biggest thing about the institutional part is they handle the national defense, right? They declare war. They raise and run U.S. Army, Navy, and other defense forces. Now, the president does have some power in this, and we'll talk about that this week and into next week. But it is not a war until Congress says it's a war. So, but the president does have a few weeks to start a war, essentially send over forces. He or she is the head of our national forces. So he or she is going to have some power in that. But most of it comes from Congress. And plus, since Congress holds the purse strings, wars cost a lot of money, so it really has to have the sign-off of Congress. I think we should pause just for a second, just to say that should the post office still exist? Should they? I mean, look, other places do it so much better. I mean, like, look, I get Amazon's delivering packages by freaking drones now. Drones. And it takes forever to get anything from the mail. Check this out. Since the post office, right, they have been running a constant deficit. And it's even worse right now. So for a while there, Trump was trying to get rid of the post office. It is still a part of his plan, but it's interesting. I wonder how the next president, whether it be Trump or Biden or any president in the future, how are they going to handle this idea of the post office losing my money? Like, we pay for this thing, right? I'm in Texas. There's flies everywhere. You got to watch out. Texas has a lot of bugs. You guys don't know anything about bugs in Utah, but Texas has giant... yesterday, I killed a mosquito. I swear to you, it was about this... It was about this big. Anyways, yes, back to the post office. The post office is losing money like crazy and has been for a very long time. This is well beyond Trump. So it's a thought. Maybe we should think about doing away with the postal service. I don't know, just a thought. So we know now what Congress is supposed to do, right? We know what they're supposed to do. But the question is, what do they actually do? A lot of times they play politics, and that means shutting down the government for political reasons. Maybe they want the president to be hurt somehow by it, or they'll play politics with laws. We haven't gotten a second stimulus because Congress is playing politics. Like, America needs more money for the people, for the poor people, all of these things. And we could do that. But Congress is playing politics. Also, they waste so much time bringing in people like, Mark Zuckerberg, right? They should, if they want to do something against Mark Zuckerberg, they should do it. They bring him in, they parade him in front of Congress, and they ask him some of the dumbest questions. Typically, at this point in the class, I'll show you guys this video of like Mark Zuckerberg in front of Congress, and they're like, how does Facebook make money? And Zuckerberg's like, we run ads, because he's half robot. But yeah, and it's like these old people, both men and women, primarily pretty old, and I'll show you that in a little bit, but they have no idea how the internet works. They just think it's like, I don't know. They have no idea how Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Tumblr, they have no idea how any of it works or how they make money or anything like that. And so Congress is kind of like the old people. They don't know anything. And we have to start thinking, we have to start asking ourselves, like, these are the people running our country. These are the people that make the decisions, make the laws. Should we start thinking about electing some people that actually know what the heck is going on? I think the last 20 to 30 years moved pretty fast for Congress. And I don't think they really know what's going on. But let's move a little deeper into what Congress is. This stuff is in your book. I know. But I want to talk about it. I just want to briefly brush over it. Slight brush. We have a bicameral legislature. That means two camerals. That usually gets a laugh in class. Okay, but it just means that there's two chambers, right? The first one is the House of Representatives. It has 435 members and will have 435 members until Congress changes it. But right now it has 435 members. And it's based on population size. And that changes every 10 years. How? Well, we'll get to that in a second. But they have 2-year terms. And each district in the state gets a representative, right? And it's roughly about 700,000 people. They can impeach public officials. That's pretty much their special power. That's like their superpower. They get to impeach people. That includes Supreme Court justices. That includes other members of Congress up to the president. They don't have a lot of superpower. There's 435 of them. But they work as a body to represent us. They are the closest ones to us. So they need to be listening to us because they only get 2 years. And so they could be in and out. So in order for them to keep their job, their office, they got to really listen to the peeps. Here's where the district maps lay out right now. You can see that it's mostly red. It's a sea of red. Republicans own this country, except for all the population places. All the most populous places are blue. They go Democrat. And that's how the push and pull of politics really works. It's really the people in the cities versus the rural people. I wanted to show you some things. Check this out. So congressional districts, right? Okay, congressional districts. Let me just see here. So they are redesigned or fit every 10 years. That's through the census. They find out where people have moved. If more people are moving to Texas, we will gain another seat. If people move away from California, they will take a seat from California and put it in Texas. And then people redraw the lines. And this process is interesting, and we'll talk a little bit about that process later. But something called gerrymandering, where politicians redraw the lines to benefit themselves, make more Republicans in one places, make more Democrats in other places. But this is all done through the census, and that's why the census is so important, that your government knows how many people are in each state, because you could be getting more representation. Utah is doing something different now. It used to be just the party in charge redraws the lines. But in Utah, we have just recently passed Proposition 4, which tasks a team to do it. And this team is made up of 3 Republicans, 3 Democrats, and 1 person of the governor's choice to decide how the lines are drawn. I don't know if that's going to be any more fair. I don't know. But we will find out. I want to show you a couple of things about how Utah has changed. Let me just pull that up. Thank you guys for being here with me. Okay, let me get that for you. I thought this might be a cool way to show you like how gerrymandering works. Okay, so like, remember when I was talking about gerrymandering and how politicians use certain districts, the lines that they draw, to benefit themselves? I want to show you guys through Utah. Check this out, okay? So this was Utah's 2 districts, 1973 to 1982. You can see there wasn't a lot of people living in Utah. So it has 2 districts, right? But then in 1983, SLC starts to grow pretty big. So it gains its own district. But you can still see here how the other 2 districts still exist around SLC. People are still trying to get apart those people. And really what they're trying to do here, they're trying to tease out the Democrats, because the ruling party at the time was Utah. And so if you divide the Democrats up, the ruling party of Utah at the time was the Republicans. That's right. So if you divide it up, if you divide up the Democrats, they won't have as much power. And so that was in 1992. Check this out. Check out 1993. 1993, you can see they further have like started to divide up Salt Lake County, right? And then in 2003, they really have just completely divided it up. You can see it's a 3-way pie splitting up Utah County. And then after 2013, we look like this. We gained actually a new district. Enough people had moved to Utah that we got 4 districts. Now, the interesting thing is, I think we're going to see enough people have moved in the last 10 years to Utah that we will probably gain a 5th district. Now, if they do a 5th district, it's going to be interesting to see where the lines go, because I guarantee you, you're going to see a 5th breakup of this right here. You're going to see another like split off of this. And it's going to be interesting to see how they draw the lines, because what they're trying to do, again, is keep the Democrats from power. Now, this is how it works in Utah. But in other states like California, they'll try to take out the Republicans. Or in New York, they'll try to take the Republicans' power away. It's just interesting how each state works to try to gain the foothold and maintain the power of the ruling party. So, yeah, I mean, we'll see how it goes, but I think we're definitely going to see a 5th district, hopefully in the next few years.